Forget what you think you know about classic noir. The 1980s didn't just revive the genre, they electroshocked it. Dark alleys got neon signs, hard-boiled detectives got existential dread, and every secret felt dirtier in the age of synth music and shoulder pads. But which movies cut through the fog, got Roger Ebert's highest praise, and still hold up today? Ready for a dive into the grimiest, most mesmerizing mysteries of the decade? Let's see if you can handle the real darkness. Body Heat 1981. Let's kick things off with pure, sticky Florida heat. Body Heat isn't just a nod to old-school noir, it's a full-body revival, dripping with sweat and double crosses. The moment Kathleen Turner steps onto the screen, you know trouble has arrived. She isn't just a femme fatale, she's the blueprint for every sultry, manipulative character that followed. William Hurt, playing a small-time lawyer with big-time weaknesses, gets caught in her web before he even knows what's happening. Their chemistry is so volatile, you might want to keep a fire extinguisher nearby. Kasdan's direction is all slow-burn tension and dangerous anticipation. You feel every ounce of desperation and longing in the Florida air. Every glance, every whispered threat, every sunbeam that cuts through a dark room, this film knows how to use atmosphere as a weapon. Ebert called it deep, feverish romanticism. But make no mistake, this is a movie where the only thing hotter than the weather is the level of deceit. By the end, you're left questioning every character's motives, and maybe even your own taste in thrillers. Want to know where modern noir got its swagger? Start with Body Heat. It's the classic you can never quite cool off from. Blood Simple, 1984. Welcome to Texas, where the only thing thicker than the accents is the tension. Blood Simple announced the Coen brothers as the new wizards of weird. It's a story so tangled, even the tumbleweeds get lost. The plot? A bar owner suspects his wife of cheating and hires a private detective to handle the dirty work. Of course, in true noir fashion, nothing goes as planned. Double crosses multiply, bodies pile up, and no one can trust a soul. What sets Blood Simple apart isn't just the clever story, it's the way the Coens wring suspense from every flickering light and every sound in the dark. You never know when violence will explode or when a seemingly normal moment will turn sinister. Frances McDormand makes her screen debut here, already hinting at the razor-sharp performances she'd deliver for decades to come. Dan Hedaya and M. Emmett Walsh round out a cast that feels as real and as unpredictable as a thunderstorm rolling in. Ebert called Blood Simple a remarkable film debut, and he was right. The movie turns the screws slowly, letting paranoia fester until the very end. There's a sense of inevitability, like fate itself is a character in the story, setting up dominoes just to watch them fall. If you think you can predict where this one's going, think again. Blood Simple is the kind of mystery that leaves you looking over your shoulder and second-guessing every choice you make after the credits roll. Blue Velvet 1986. You want weird? You want dark? You want to feel unsettled for days? David Lynch delivers all that and more in Blue Velvet, a movie that takes small-town America and turns it inside out. From the opening shot, a white picket fence hiding a writhing mass of beetles. You know, this isn't your typical whodunit. Kyle MacLachlan plays Jeffrey, a curious college kid who finds a severed ear in a field and just can't leave it alone. That's your first clue that nothing in this town is as safe as it seems. Lynch lures you in with suburban nostalgia, only to yank the rug out with every turn. Isabella Rossellini's performance is haunting, raw, and unforgettable. Dennis Hopper's Frank Booth? He's not just a villain, he's a force of nature, terrifying and magnetic all at once. The way Lynch mixes beauty and ugliness, innocence and corruption, is what makes Blue Velvet a true neo-noir masterpiece. Ebert gave it 4 stars, calling it a film of surreal beauty and relentless tension. The suspense isn't just about who did what. It's about what's hiding behind every curtain and inside every heart. By the end, you'll never hear Roy Orbison the same way again. If you're brave enough to peek under the surface, Blue Velvet is waiting to show you just how dark the American dream can get. Thief 1981. Imagine a world where crime feels almost poetic, a world where neon lights reflect off rain-soaked streets and every job is the last big score. That's Thief, Michael Mann's electric dive into the mind of a professional safecracker who just wants out. James Caan gives one of his finest performances as Frank, a man haunted by dreams of a normal life, but trapped by the very skills that keep him alive. The city is his enemy, his friend, and his only real home. The film is a visual feast. Mann's signature style, the blues, the reds, the harsh shadows, makes every frame feel dangerous. The score by Tangerine Dream pulses with anxiety, setting your teeth on edge before a single safe gets cracked. Ebert called Thief a high-tech, high-anxiety thriller. And that's exactly what you get. Every scene hums with possibility and dread. What really makes Thief essential, though, is its emotional core. This isn't just about stealing diamonds. It's about stealing a shot at happiness from a world that doesn't give second chances. Frank is desperate to escape his past, but the shadows keep pulling him back in. If you want a neo-noir that's both stylish and soul-crushing, Thief is the one to watch. You'll be rooting for the bad guy and questioning your own morals before it's over. Blade Runner 1982. Forget the flying cars and giant video billboards for a second. Blade Runner is noir, pure and simple. Set in a future Los Angeles that feels more like a perpetual midnight fever dream, Ridley Scott's masterpiece takes the heart of classic detective stories and wraps it in a layer of rain, neon, and impossible questions. Harrison Ford's Rick Deckard is the world-weary investigator you expect, but his targets aren't gangsters or blackmailers, they're replicants, artificial humans desperate to live. Roger Ebert called Blade Runner a masterpiece of visionary science fiction, but he knew the real genius lay in the details. The movie is a feast for the eyes, every frame crowded with shadows and secrets. Rutger Hauer's Roy Batty isn't just an antagonist, he's a tragic figure who forces Deckard and us to confront what it really means to be human. Sean Young's Rachel is both icy and vulnerable, a noir femme in a world gone cold. What makes Blade Runner essential neo-noir isn't just its style, though the style is legendary. It's the sense that every answer leads to another, deeper question. No one gets away clean, and even the moments of beauty are edged with sorrow. If you want your mysteries with a side of existential dread, this is your movie. Just don't expect easy answers or dry streets. Blade Runner is the future noir that's still ahead of its time. Witness 1985. Imagine hiding from the world in a place where time moves slower, the rules are written in silence, and secrets can't stay buried forever. That's the premise of Witness, a neo-noir that swaps shadowy cities for the golden fields of Amish country. Harrison Ford drops his blaster and badge for a minute and becomes Detective John Book, a city cop forced to hide out with the Amish after a young boy witnesses a brutal murder. It's a wild contrast. Ford's tough guy grit crashing up against a world where violence and technology are taboo. But don't let the rural setting fool you. Danger is just outside the barn door. Every frame pulses with quiet menace, and every relationship is loaded with tension. Kelly McGillis gives a powerful, understated performance as Rachel, a woman torn between faith and forbidden feelings. Lucas Haas, as the wide-eyed boy caught in the crossfire, grounds the story with innocence. Ebert praised Witness for its masterful construction and the way it finds suspense in silence and restraint. Instead of dark alleyways, you get cornfields. Instead of car chases, you get buggy rides with everything at stake. But at its core, Witness is still a noir, haunted by secrets, driven by characters running from their past. If you ever wondered what would happen if a hard-boiled mystery met a world with no phones or electricity, Witness is your answer. After Dark, My Sweet 1989. Get ready for a trip straight into the deep end of desperation. After Dark, My Sweet is pure neo-noir, a world of faded glamour, dusty motels, and people just trying to survive another bad day. Jason Patric plays Kevin Kid Collins, an ex-boxer with a haunted past and nowhere to go. He drifts into the orbit of Faye, played with perfect tension by Rachel Ward, and Earl, a scheming drifter played by Bruce Dern. Together, they hatch a kidnapping plot that has disaster written all over it. This is noir that doesn't care about fast-talking detectives or clever gadgets. It's about wounded people, broken dreams, and that gnawing feeling that fate is laughing at you. Foley keeps things tight and claustrophobic, with sunlight that feels more like a spotlight than comfort. The story moves slow, but every scene is loaded with dread, like you're waiting for the bottom to drop out at any second. Roger Ebert called After Dark, my sweet, hauntingly evocative, a film that lingers with you long after it's over. It's the kind of movie where hope and danger share the same bed, and trust is a luxury no one can afford. If you want to see noir stripped down to its bare, beating heart, look no further. Manhunter, 1986. Before Anthony Hopkins made Dr. Lecter a household name, Michael Mann unleashed Manhunter, a sleek, icy thriller that changed the game for crime stories. William Peterson stars as Will Graham, a profiler with a talent for stepping inside the mind of serial killers, even though it nearly breaks him every time. He's tracking the Tooth Fairy, a ruthless killer who's always one step ahead, and his journey takes him to places darker than any back alley. Mann's vision is all cold blues and sterile whites, creating an atmosphere where every shadow could hide a monster. Brian Cox's chilling turn as Hannibal Lecter, yes, with a different spelling, is all the more unsettling because it's so understated. You don't get cartoonish villains, you get predators who blend right in. Tom Noonan's Tooth Fairy is unforgettable, all quiet menace and twisted logic. Ebert saw Manhunter as a superior thriller, stylish, chilling, and methodical. And he wasn't kidding. The movie's power comes from its discipline. Every choice, every line, every shot is perfectly controlled, just like the characters themselves try to be. But the cracks always show. This is neo-noir for the MTV era, neon reflections in a world that's gone cold. If you think you've seen it all in detective movies, Manhunter will make you look twice, and maybe sleep with the lights on. To Live and Die in L.A., 1985. What happens when a cop wants revenge more than justice? You get To Live and Die in L.A., a thriller that explodes with reckless energy and leaves morality scattered on the pavement. William Peterson shows up again, this time as Secret Service agent Richard Chance, who is so obsessed with catching a master counterfeiter that he'll bend every rule in the book and maybe invent a few new ones. Willem Dafoe is the perfect foil, playing the cool, menacing artist criminal with a flair for the dramatic. L.A. has never looked sleazier, more dangerous, or more alive than it does here. Friedkin turns the city into a pulsing neon jungle where every deal can go sideways and loyalty is a punchline. The car chase? Let's just say, if you've seen it, you never forget it. This is action that makes your knuckles white and your heart pound. Roger Ebert loved the relentless pace and stylish grit, calling the film a hard-edged slice of pure adrenaline. What sets To Live and Die in L.A. apart is how it blends classic noir tropes, betrayal, corruption, obsession, with a modern, almost punk sensibility. Nobody's clean, everyone's desperate, and the only thing you can count on is that everything can, and probably will, go wrong. Buckle up. Cutter's Way, 1981. Some mysteries don't want to be solved. Cutter's Way is the rare film that understands this, then leans into it with tragic, drunken swagger. Jeff Bridges plays Richard Bone, a guy just scraping by in sunny Santa Barbara until he thinks he witnesses a murder. Enter John Hurd as Alex Cutter, a Vietnam vet whose body and soul are battered but not broken. Cutter is relentless, obsessed, and ready to drag everyone down his rabbit hole of conspiracy. This isn't a world of glamorous detectives or polished heroes. Cutter's Way is messy, sun-soaked beaches littered with secrets, friendships warped by pain, and justice that always seems just out of reach. Lisa Eichhorn adds a bruised tenderness to the mix, grounding the film's escalating madness with her heartbreak. The trio's pursuit of truth starts as a mission and ends as a slow-motion car crash you can't look away from. Roger Ebert called Cutter's Way a sleeper, a film that sticks with you, and for good reason. The movie is equal parts paranoia, loyalty, and bitter nostalgia for a world that never really existed. The ending doesn't offer closure, it offers a haunting question. Was it worth it? If you're looking for answers, Cutter's Way makes you work for them, and maybe that's the real point. Atlantic City, 1980. Picture this. Atlantic City, where the casinos are glittering on the outside, but everything underneath is just one bad bet away from collapse. Louis Malle's Atlantic City isn't your typical neo-noir. It's got more grit than glamour, more heartbreak than high stakes. Burt Lancaster stars as Lou, a worn-out numbers runner who's seen the city's glory days fade into memory. Susan Sarandon's Sally is younger, hopeful, and chasing dreams that seem to move just out of reach. Their lives intersect in a swirl of missed chances and small-time schemes. Instead of shootouts and back alleys, you get casinos that promise everything and deliver nothing. Mal fills every scene with longing, for lost youth, for one last score, for a bit of dignity in a world that keeps dealing bad hands. Lancaster's performance is a revelation, vulnerable, sly, a little tragic, and absolutely magnetic. Sarandon brings hope and grit, refusing to be anyone's damsel. Ebert gave Atlantic City 4 stars, calling it a movie of unexpected tenderness and deep, sad wisdom. You come for the crime, but stay for the bruised humanity underneath. This is a noir that understands the real mystery isn't who did what, but why we keep hoping for more, even when the odds are never in our favor. Atlantic City proves sometimes the most dangerous place is where the past and future collide. House of Games 1987. You think you know who's conning whom? Think again. House of Games is David Mamet's twisted playground of psychological games where trust is just another chip on the table. Lindsay Krause plays Dr. Margaret Ford, a cool, successful psychiatrist who thinks she's above it all until she walks into a seedy bar and meets Mike, a masterful con artist played by Joe Mantegna. Suddenly, every conversation is a gamble, every move a setup, and every truth just another layer of the grift. Mamet's script snaps and crackles with razor-sharp dialogue, daring you to keep up as alliances shift faster than you can blink. The film's world is all smoky rooms, hidden tells, and the thrill of being one step ahead, until you're not. Ebert called House of Games devious construction and relentless suspense, and he wasn't exaggerating. There's always another play coming, and you can never relax. What elevates House of Games isn't just the mechanics of the con, it's how it gets inside your head. By the time Dr. Ford realizes she's in way over her head, you might feel the same. Mamet blurs the lines between predator and prey, and just when you think you've spotted the twist, bam, he's already dealt you a new hand. This is noir, where your own certainty is the first victim. The Long Good Friday, 1980. Ready for a trip across the pond? The Long Good Friday drags classic noir grit into the crumbling underworld of Thatcher-era London. Bob Hoskins is Harold Shand, a gangster with big plans to go legit, just as the city and his empire start slipping through his fingers. He's not just a crime boss, he's a king fighting to keep his crown, battling unknown enemies, shifting alliances, and a city that doesn't play by his rules anymore. What makes this neo-noir a standout isn't just the British flavor, but the tension that never lets up. The violence is raw, the betrayals cut deep, and the power struggles play out like chess moves where every piece is loaded. Helen Mirren is quietly ferocious as Victoria, Harold's sharp partner, who matches him step for step. The film's final scene is legendary, a silent, nerve-shredding reckoning that lets you stew in dread. Ebert praised The Long Good Friday for being as ruthless and unsentimental as a Chandler novel, and he's dead on. There's no room for sentiment or safety in this world, just ambition, fear, and the realization that everything can vanish overnight. It's not just about who pulls the trigger, it's about who gets left standing when the dust clears. This is London noir, and it hits hard. Blowout 1981. Ever get the feeling you've stumbled into a nightmare and can't wake up? That's the energy of Blowout, Brian De Palma's dazzling, paranoid mystery that'll have you questioning every sound in the dark. John Travolta stars as Jack Terry, a sound man who accidentally records evidence of a murder. He thinks he's found the truth, but in De Palma's world, truth is slippery and the real danger is always just out of sight. Nancy Allen brings vulnerable determination as Sally, a woman caught in the middle of a plot she can't escape. But the city itself is a character, full of dark corners, echoing screams, and politicians with too much to hide. De Palma cranks up the suspense with split screens, wild camera moves, and a mounting sense of doom that never lets go. You'll never look at fireworks or hear a scream the same way again. Ebert loved blowouts, brilliant construction, and shattering conclusion. The movie takes the old noir playbook and tears it up, delivering a story that feels urgent and fresh even decades later. Nothing is safe, no one is innocent, and the more you know, the more you're in danger. This is a neo-noir that doesn't let you breathe until the credits roll. Angel Heart, 1987. Step into the sweaty, jazz-soaked world of Angel Heart, where every clue leads you deeper into a labyrinth you probably shouldn't enter. Mickey Rourke plays Harry Angel, a private investigator hired to track down a missing singer in New Orleans, but what he finds is a tangle of secrets, lies, and things nobody should see. Lisa Bonet is mesmerizing as Epiphany, pulling Angel further into a world that grows darker with every answer. Alan Parker directs with a sense of creeping dread. This isn't just a mystery, it's a fever dream. The streets of New Orleans pulse with danger, and every shadow feels alive. You'll sweat just watching it, feeling like there's something lurking just out of sight, waiting to strike. Rourke's performance is raw, a man slowly unraveling as the truth closes in around him. Ebert called Angel Heart sinister, stylish, and unforgettable, neo-noir with a supernatural edge. The film keeps you guessing until the very last moment, blurring the line between what's real and what's just fear talking. You don't just watch Angel Heart, you survive it. If you want a mystery that'll crawl under your skin and stay there, this is your ticket. The Verdict, 1982. If you think neo-noir is all shadows and smoke, The Verdict proves you wrong. It's sunlight slanting through dusty windows, hope fighting to break through the grime. Paul Newman stars as Frank Galvin, a washed-up lawyer so far down he's almost forgotten what dignity feels like. Then he takes a case nobody wants and decides, for the first time in years, not to throw the fight. You can smell the desperation on him, but that's what makes every small victory feel huge. Sidney Lumet's direction is all about moral rot, both in the city and in the human heart. The courtroom is just another battleground, and every witness could be a traitor. Jack Warden and Charlotte Rampling deliver bruised, brittle performances that make the story sing. The real villain? Corruption so entrenched you wonder if the truth even matters. Roger Ebert handed The Verdict 4 stars, praising its gritty, powerful, and deeply human storytelling. This isn't a story of heroics. It's a story about refusing to stay beaten, about fighting for one last bit of decency, even when everyone else says it's a lost cause. If you want a mystery where the biggest question isn't who done it, but what's left when the system eats you alive, The Verdict is your answer. Justice never looked so noir. Jagged Edge, 1985. Some movies twist you up and don't let go. Jagged Edge is one of them, a legal thriller that doubles as a sharp-edged mystery, keeping you guessing until the last gasp. Glenn Close stars as Teddy Barnes, a sharp-witted attorney pulled out of retirement to defend Jack Forrester, a newspaper editor played by Jeff Bridges, accused of a gruesome crime. The facts don't add up. The motives don't line up, and every new piece of evidence cuts deeper than the last. The courtroom becomes a battleground of wits, but the real fight happens behind closed doors. Close and Bridges spark with a chemistry that's equal parts trust and suspicion. Peter Coyote is chilling as the slick prosecutor who's convinced everyone's guilty. The script moves like a coiled snake, setting traps for the audience and daring you to solve the puzzle before the jury does. Ebert called Jagged Edge a crackling, grown-up thriller, a movie where truth is a weapon and nobody gets away clean. The ending? Let's just say you'll be running through every scene in your mind, wondering what you missed. If you crave your mysteries with bite, smart, shadowy, and always a little dangerous, Jagged Edge is essential viewing. Don't trust anyone, not even yourself. The Big Easy, 1986. Down in New Orleans, where the air is thick with jazz and secrets, the Big Easy turns the city itself into the star of the show. Dennis Quaid is Remy McSwain, a smooth-talking detective who treats the rules like suggestions. Ellen Barkin arrives as Ann Osborne, a by-the-book district attorney ready to shake up the system. Sparks fly, sometimes playful, sometimes explosive, as a murder investigation throws them together. This isn't your average noir. The Big Easy pulses with swagger, humor, and a distinctly Southern flavor. Every street is alive, every character has an angle, and you get the sense that even the buildings are eavesdropping on the action. The chemistry between Quaid and Barkin sizzles, flipping the script on who's really in control. It's a dance of suspicion, charm, and temptation, where even the good guys blur the line between law and chaos. Ebert called The Big Easy a movie with smoky atmosphere and sly wit. What really sets it apart is its willingness to embrace the gray areas. Nobody is all good or all bad, and justice is always just out of reach. The Big Easy is less about solving the crime and more about surviving the night with your soul intact. It's a mystery that's as much fun as it is dangerous, just like New Orleans itself. Fatal Attraction, 1987. Urban noir doesn't get much sharper than this. Fatal Attraction is the movie that made everyone look twice at their own secrets and their neighbors. Michael Douglas is Dan Gallagher, a New York lawyer who makes one terrible mistake and spends the rest of the film watching his life spiral out of control. Glenn Close is Alex Forrest, whose fixation turns every phone call, every glance, into a threat you can't shake off. Adrian Lyne directs with clinical precision, turning city apartments and office buildings into pressure cookers ready to explode. The real terror here isn't a masked stranger. It's how quickly normal life can become a nightmare. Close's performance is legendary, moving from vulnerable to terrifying without missing a beat. Anne Archer brings raw honesty to the role of Beth, Dan's wife, forcing the story to confront consequences most thrillers skip. Ebert called Fatal Attraction an expert thriller, smart and unrelenting. What starts as a classic noir setup, bad choices, shadowy motives, mutates into something deeply unsettling. The suspense isn't just in the plot twists, but in the slow realization that you're watching ordinary lives unravel. By the end, you'll never look at a boiling pot the same way again. This is neo-noir for the modern age, polished, unpredictable, and impossible to forget. So, after all these neon-lit betrayals and rain-soaked twists, do you still think the 1980s was just about blockbusters and big hair? These mysteries prove the decade had sharper edges and darker corners than anyone admits. Which noir left you reeling or made you double-check the locks? Drop your pick in the comments, hit subscribe for more cinematic rabbit holes, and share this with someone who loves a good secret. The next dark alley is just one click away.